Do 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 do. For everyone listening on YouTube that is not live at the moment, I'm going to be starting shortly. You can skip ahead and find the start of the video there, and so on and so forth. And you're too vain. You give love a bad name. Okay, let's get this started. All right, let's do this. Let's do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, I need to record actually. What is up, everyone? Welcome to the Rage Traders NRL Supercoach podcast. Wolfie here, and we've just finished the Manly versus Sharks game. So we're going to be doing that as a little wrap up with a bit of a talk about the minor buy period, the upcoming major buy period or second major buy period, and just a bit of strategy, just a bit of where my head is at the moment with trades, where I'm at, sort of where I'm thinking I want to go, and who I'm looking at getting. That's the most important part, because I've looked at my round 15 and it is not looking amazing at the moment, but I can get there and make it a okay round 15. So I really want to put myself in a good position for that. Now, if you are listening on audio podcasts, please 5-star review. That always helps. That's on Apple Podcasts or Apple Music and Spotify podcasts. And if you're watching live, or if you are just watching on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe. That really does help me for the algorithm. And thank you as always for the support. We are doing this live as well. So Jeff, how you doing, mate? Thanks for coming in. A bit of a random late live here. For those listening on audio, I am currently at the rank of 6,541. So I went up about 3,300, or not about, I went up 3,387 spots from about 9,900 or so. So slowly getting there to the top like 5,000, which is where my aim is for this season, where from how I sort of started. And then if for any of those people that care about the Origin Supercoach, current rank is 8,440 in that, getting a 689 in the first Origin game. We'll start off with the wrap up first for the Sharks versus Manly game. I think the big play here. Hello, Mr. Top Dog. How you doing? How you doing? Nice to see you guys. Thanks for coming in. The biggest thing that I was going to do tonight, and I was super scared about this, I was and ahhing about getting Ronald Mulitalo in. I was like, Ronaldo, like I was just like, man, he could go big this game, even though Hines isn't there. I was really, really wanting to take a gamble, and I didn't do it. So I'm very happy with myself there. Now, obviously, with Nico being out, I thought to myself, there was one play that I just didn't have the balls to do, and that's bring in Trindle this week. They have Dragons next week. If Hines isn't playing next week, that is absolutely insane to me. Like, in terms of if you went Trindle tonight and he doesn't play next week, in terms of Nico Hines, you are absolutely going to be loving your trade in, because tonight we saw him just be the pure controller that he is. Now, I'm not going to say he's a 100+ person every week if Nico wasn't there, because I think they're a much better team at home than they are away, and they're two completely different teams in those factors. However, He just has way more of the kicking game. He just absolutely took over this game. And to be honest with you, he was the reason they won for sure, because without their sort of fiery start and him controlling the game, there was definitely a chance of Sea Eagles winning this game. Sharks get up just by 28 points to 22. That's a 6-point deficit. It was quite a close game that I thought would maybe break out. Sharks have the ability that when they sort of get up to a 14, 16 point lead, it's kind of like game over. That happened, and Sea Eagles still bounced back without Haumole Olakau'atu and Kula and Turbo. So that's an interesting watch there. I still don't think the Sharks' performance was amazing, to be honest with you, but Supercoach-wise, you're absolutely happy with that Trindle. Billy Burns gets 100. He got 2 tries in this one, for memory, so that's why you're seeing a massive score there. Wilton's been a great addition. I think he's just someone that can pop and get around these random 90s, and then generally we'll sit around that 50 to 60 mark. McInnes getting a 77 here. That's good to see. Now he is super cheap. Now he's going to he has an 89 break even with 77. If you're looking for someone that could possibly be in there. Now, I'm not sure. Did McInnes even get into the Origin on the bench? I don't even think he did. I'd have to double check that. The biggest news here is for you Blake Brayley owners and for New South Wales Origin or people that were looking to go Coruscant. Blake Brayley, broken arm this game, went in for a tackle and sort of like the middle of his arm hit like, I think it was like the knee of the runner, and it just went boom, gone. So that is unfortunate news for owners. Now, what's the implications here? Well, first and foremost, Reece Robson, he's absolutely secured the starting spot. There was talk about, Blake Brayley should start for Origin now. And for me, I think that is now going to bring Api Coruscant on the team. So if you are an Api Coruscant owner or you were looking to get Api Coruscant this week, I would definitely steer clear of that now, because you're definitely going to have a hooker on the bench for Origin just in case anything happens to your primary hooker or you wanted to give them a break. So I think Api Coruscant will now be coming in for the Blues. Now, I thought AFB backing up was really good. He's not really Supercoach relevant. For those that still have Jesse Colquhoun, he's has got a break even of 60 here, and he got a 47. You will live with that. The biggest talking points, like Supercoach wise, for me, that of players that I thought could go big tonight and didn't happen. One was Mulatalo, only a 28 in this game. That is insane to me. Absolutely wild. I think, like, it's so weird, but Stone Street, Mulatalo, and Jesse Ramian just all scoring so low. Stone Street with a 27, Ramian with a 37, and Mulatalo with a 28, even Kennedy with a 27. It just seems like the attack of the Sharks tonight didn't spread like it would when you watch like a Souths when they go right to the edges. Like, it just didn't make it to the wing. And this is going to really hurt people that maybe took a gamble on getting these type of players in. As I said, I'm super happy I didn't go Mulatalo. I'm very keen now on going to Male. The reason being is I want to get Bostock next week. I don't want to double up on Bostock and Jermaine Asako. Reason being is I don't like, one, having the center and winger on two sides of the same, or one side of the, which is the same side. And two, when that team does poorly, you're generally going to get 2 bad scores from each of those players, or average scores, which will affect me in a week. So I'm still looking at Bostock. As I said, I wanted to wait for the bye. But let's get back to this wrap up a bit. Let's talk about the Sea Eagles, and then we'll talk about trades, targets, everything like that. I'll just read out some comments quickly. Agreed, Trindle had a great kicking game. I'm spewing Brayley, suspected broken arm. Hopefully he recovers fast. Yeah, I think he may be back for Origin 3, but if he isn't, but yeah. Paseka, yeah. Hello, Grant. How you doing? Mr. Top Dog, I've had a shocker. Iro to Saab. I did look at Saab. I'm not going to lie, but when I saw some of his scores, I just think you were chasing that massive 130 score. And yeah, really unfortunate there. 46 you'll live with, though. I'm not going to lie. Negative 14 break even. I mean, yeah, it is what it is, right? He's going to be the lowest score, one of the lowest scoring wingers when he does nothing. and then he'll have a game where he has like a hat trick, kind of like a Dominic Young. Benny Turbo, 103 with the 54 break even. Now, he did have a shoulder injury in this game. I'm not sure what happened. I didn't get to watch the whole game, but I knew he hurt his shoulder, so just stay tuned for that. I'm not sure if he came back on or stayed on the field and continued on, but just be wary of that. Jamal Fogarty with a 96 and a try in this game. That was assisted from Luke Brooks. Taniela Paseka. Now, there was a line break assist in this passage of scoring, so just be wary. That's why he has a bit of a high score. 73 is absolutely huge, though. This guy is really coming into some form now, but I think it's too late to get him. I wouldn't be looking at getting him whatsoever. Luke Brooks with a 72. Eagles had a bit of a surge, a bit of a comeback, and Brooks had a really nice like line break into a try assist. That's why he's got a bump there in his scoring. Clayton Falalo. I'm not even gonna bother, man. However, I've spoken about this guy before. He did get a line break, a tackle bust, and a try, and he's only got a 64 in this game. So even though he has a -7 break even, you're not going there, but he has some serious talent. And between me and you, if I'm the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs, I'm going after this guy. I think he's a great fullback. I think he has a lot of potential. And if it was me, if I'm the Bulldogs and I see this guy, I think I'm just going straight for him. Simpkin 59, Jake Trbojevic 52, Garrick, who a lot of people gambled on and I advise not to, a flat 50. I just think he's not the Garrick of old. I think he's declining rapidly, especially in Supercoach and just in general. Maybe not rapidly, maybe that's a bit harsh, but I just think he's declining a bit, and without the goal kicking, he really does need attacking stats, and he's not that that type of Garrick we've seen in the past that has a double in him or has a hat trick. So yeah, that's just my opinion anyway. That could be completely incorrect. And honestly, Supercoach wise, other than that, maybe Lehigh Hopewadi, if you had him, a very mild 34, that hurts you a lot. But again, like Supercoach wise, star of the match is definitely Taniela Paseka in this one. A nice 73 from someone who should be your FRF3 or FRF4. Maybe he's but yeah. Faux la law. That's how Hosea is telling me. Clayton Faux La Law. Okay, sorry. Thank you. I appreciate it. But yeah, this was a weird game. It looked like it was going to be quite low scoring, and then all of a sudden the points came on. Yeah, if maybe we could just check quickly, because I do want to look at one thing about Cameron McInnes, his minutes, but also I just want to check. Did McInnes? I actually don't know. I don't think was McInnes on the bench at all. He wasn't, right? No, he wasn't. He wasn't on the bench for the Blues at all, which is fine. And how many minutes did he play tonight? Because this is actually 44 tackles for him. And let's see if we can find him here. Cameron McInnes, he only played 55 minutes. Total points, 63. That's fantasy, though. Run meters, 109, 17 runs. Jeez. Okay, so we should keep tabs on Cam. I know it's not crazy, but a 77 for him in Supercoach points. Maybe the time to buy him could be next week. Against St. George, he could easily, just be someone we plug in now. And with their buy structure being very, very good, I really like it. I really like this pick. Super cheap as well for someone that can be an 80-minute player. Maybe we can also check quickly on him. Sorry to drag this on, but I'm actually curious to see if he has an increase in minutes over time. By the way, he went to my high school, or we went to the same high school, I should say. So he's had 24 minutes against North Queensland. He's then had, and that was in round 8. He's then had 39 minutes. He's then had 41. And tonight, am I getting this right? Why did he not play against Bulldogs? And then in round 13 against Manly, he's gone 55 minutes. So in each game, we have seen an increase in minutes from Cam McInnes. I think this is something we could potentially focus on and see. They have St. George, New Zealand, and Roosters into the minor bye in 17, into Broncos in 18, and I don't think he's going to be in the Origin squad. So this is a little sneaky, leaky pick here, and something we should be keeping an eye on. All right, let's get into a bit of a strategy. My strategy, what I'm thinking at the moment. Obviously, it's hard to say the exact sort of trades I'm going for this week because it's all dependent on the sort of backups and dependent on, you know, which Origin player is deemed to play. Now, I really need Cleary to play this week. I will say that. At the moment, he's obviously not selected, but them having the Sunday game is a real big positive. If either Robson or Cleary plays, I'll be able to just have an AE with my trades that I do, and then essentially be fine for the week. So I'm just needing one of them to play. If both of them play, I'm completely happy with that. Now, obviously, with Iro being out, Farnworth, they're on the bye this week. The Dolphins, Pascoe's on the bye with the Gold Coast Titans. There's a lot going on. Nico Hines, obviously, injury hurt a lot as well. So where am I looking at and what am I looking at doing? I think the biggest talking point for me this week is, do you get in Reece Walsh or do you not get in Reece Walsh? This is what I sort of viewed it as. Now, some people will say there's no way he's worth coming in for two games and then possibly being a trade out. Now, if Ponga backs up, now let me start by saying this. In the press conference, this may be completely incorrect, but in the press conference after the State of Origin game, they said to Billy Slater, now after tonight's game, do you expect, or are you going to be making any changes? And he said, I'm not going to be making changes. No. Now, whether you take that as written in stone, I wouldn't, but that was a sign to me that he was very happy with how Queensland performed, and because of a reckless decision from our fullback, we lost the game, but that's not to say that the team needs changes. Now, this is the big thing. If Kalen Ponga performs really well against, Parramatta, he might come off for a break this week. Maybe he plays 60 minutes and they go, you know what, we've won, rest. Then he versus Melbourne. Now, if he performs well in these games, that only gives more inclination to keeping him. He'll be starting for Queensland. That's very good. Now, I did say I was very, 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 when I don't know if any of you guys watched my Origin, review of the lineups and my thoughts. But in that video, I said, I'm super, super surprised to not see Reece Walsh anywhere on the bench. Very surprised. Not even in the extended bench. And I think I said in that video, if something happens to our fullback, I would much rather have Reece Walsh in the back there, coming on, protecting that back line, than maybe trusting a hammer. But I'm not a perfectionist. I'm not right. The cards fell as they fell, and that was it. That's how the game went. Now, back to Supercoach. The reason why I think Reece Walsh should be a trade-in, if Tedesco doesn't back up, I think he's a must trade-in. Now, this is the reason why. It's because he's going to be a player that has the orange armband or a captaincy armband on for 2 weeks in a row. So when you view a player, if you're bringing in KPP this week, you're not putting a vice captaincy or captaincy on him. So you're viewing him as a 60 to 80 point player. If you think that's value, you go for that. But when you're bringing in players like Reece Walsh, who you assume will go 100 plus this week or 100 plus in each of the games in the next 2 weeks, you don't view it as 200 points. You view it as this is a possible 400 point play. And if everything goes to plan, is it worth losing up to 400, if not more points, because they are going to be a captain? So that's why I think he's a trade in. Now, if you're in my situation where I have Farlogo, Tedesco, and Drinkwater, well, what the hell do you do? Well, in that scenario, you're hoping Tedesco doesn't get picked. If Tedesco doesn't get picked, it's the easiest downplay to Walsh. I bank some cash and I don't have to think too much about it. I'm very big on holding Farlogo. I don't know why. There's a lot of hate towards him in terms of Supercoach hate of, he's done, his season's done. Guys, he's playing for Melbourne, but this guy's still getting like 50s and 60s. All he needs is one attacking stat, and he's literally getting like an 80 to 90. So I just think there's way too much going on for us to be like, why are we not getting rid of Suafalogo? They're versing Sydney Roosters. For some reason, people think Sydney Roosters are like the best team in the world, and how's he not gonna do anything? First of all, Harry Grant, Cameron Munster, Trent Loiero, these guys are gonna back up. Okay, there's no doubt in my mind they need to win. They're pushing for like trying to get in the top 8. They're gonna back up. This is the game they have to back up in. So they're gonna be at full strength basically. Second of all, Sydney Roosters still are a team that can leak points. So in that case, if that is exactly how you're viewing it, why would you want to trade out Sua for a Reece Walsh? In my opinion. Backtracking on that though, if Tedesco plays, that means he's going to play in round 14 as well. And that is against Canberra at GIO Stadium. It's a tough call to make whether you just sit tight or do you just pull the plug on Tedesco early, who's definitely missing out on 15. Then I dare say that he won't play 16. I mean, he could, but I think the second game is what they don't back up. Now, if New South Wales win the second game, I think they definitely won't back up for sure. But who knows? I mean, I'm not Laurie Daly and I don't know what goes on in his mind. I'm pretty sure 99% of the population don't. It's a very tough call here because if you did trade Tedesco to Walsh, there's a chance that if Tedesco plays, he could still do very, very good against the likes of a Melbourne Storm. He just won the game for his team in Origin. He's a tackle-busting freak. Yes, he didn't score that well, but he scored 60-plus points in an Origin match as fullback. It inclines me to either look at going a Drinkwater or Sua. So it is a tough decision that I haven't decided on, but I'm hoping that I can just wait for this Melbourne and Sydney Roosters game. Now, the best part about all of this is that Sydney Roosters are versing Melbourne and the Broncos, St. George and Canberra North Queensland game are after it. So around all these fullbacks, we're going to have the information prior to the game starting. So Saturday, 7:35 p.m, Amy Park, you're going to know at about about 6:05 p.m, you're going to know what is going on with that team. Whether Tedesco is backing up, then you've got 90 minutes to make an evaluated decision. Let me just read some questions quickly while I've said that. By the way, fake names, VC on Trindle, absolutely amazing. Well done. Good work with your instinct. I love seeing that type of stuff. Congratulations. Taking the loop, did it a loop? Or is it a loop? I don't know. Maybe comment below, guys, if you think VC Trindle is a loop. Maybe for these type of rounds it is. It sucks that you have like Kalen Pongers and Reece Walsh's this week. That's the only thing, but very nice VC. They have to back up if they want to play finals. I agree. Walsh or Edwards, leaning to Edwards. It's very tough. I think if Cleary plays, you don't go Edwards, but the problem is you'd have to make a call on Walsh before that. The thing is also on top of that, you then are getting someone that's likely not to be in Origin, being Edwards, so it's more of a secure pick rather than Walsh having a higher chance of playing Origin. So it's a bit of a way up there because one, Walsh could score way better and likely will score better than Edwards over the next 2 weeks. But do you just go with the safer pick where Cleary's going to have a rest after the next Origin if he does back up here? then it's going to be like maybe Edwards was the safer pick in consistency over time. If you are brave enough to watch Walsh tear up the Dragons and not own him, you are braver. You are a braver man than me. Well, let me tell you, if you're going to watch this Dragons versus Broncos game and you don't have Walsh, do me 2 favors. Get some earplugs or mute the TV and put a blindfold on, because that's the only way I could sit there at the TV getting that type of experience if I didn't own him. As a Panthers fan, keep in mind Alamotti goal kicks, not Edwards. Yes, correct. Also, that is a great comment. Is it Gapples? Gapples PvP. So that's where I'm sitting at the moment in terms of like this whole Walsh scenario. Now, let me tell you about some players that I'm really focusing on getting. Now, I'll zoom out here for you guys that are in the live so you can see this. But I'll show you now. I'm sitting quite good I haven't made any trades yet, and I'm sitting quite good with my 13 or with my round 13. So I'm pretty happy with that. I've got a lot of green dots. I'm looking at trading out Cooper Bye. I can trade out Pryke to Terrell May if I wanted to. I can even trade out Sua to Sevilla Tamale, sorry. And there's a lot of options I can take. But who are the players I'm really looking for? Now, I'm going to skip forward to round 15 because this is how I do things. I know that for me at the moment, even if I show you with my gold membership, if I go to round 15, it'll show you my team and who is playing in round 15. Now, hopefully Hines is back then, and it's not bad. You know, I've got Makasini, Tedesco won't be playing, so I have Makasini, Iro Farnworth, I have Hines, I'll have Hosking, Duncan, then I'll have Tarpanay, Twal, possibly not Ford, and Pascoe. So I'll have 9 players at that time. Now, in between now to then, I can trade 4 to 5 players. 5 players max, including a boost, right? No, I'll get more for round 15. I'll get 4. So 6 players. So I can be completely fine. Now let's talk about players who I'm really targeting for this period. I think massively, I would think like a cheapie, and this is maybe to your question about Cody Ramsey. I think Latrell, is it Sigwalt? Is that how you pronounce it? I think he could absolutely be someone you target around this period. Around the news of Latrell still not being ready for Origin in Game 2 or being unlikely, I think he could be someone. I'm really big on these players. So like Aaron Clark for New Zealand Warriors, I think there's a chance that Jackson Ford could come into the team. Even if he isn't, Mitch Barnett will drop out, and that will boost up Aaron Clark a tiny bit. So I really like that pick. As I said to you, Tamale is someone who I'm eyeing off this week. The reason being is, yes, he hasn't been flash, but generally he's a 45 to 60 center winger. Now, on top of that, they're playing at home to North Queensland in round 13. In round 14, they're versing Sydney Roosters at GIO Stadium. That'll be a tough match. Then in round 15, they're versing Parramatta Eels at CommBank Stadium. Whether Mitch Moses will be back for that, I'm not sure. But if he's back, he might be in the Origin team. And then in round 16, they have Melbourne at Amy Park, where it gets a bit harder. Now, they do miss out on round 18. Now, I have Tarpanay, Hosking, and I have Tamale at that point. But by round 18, I can make adjustments that my round 18 is completely fine. Then I'll be completely out of that bye period. No stress whatsoever. And by that time, I'm looking to get rid of Scott Drinkwater anyway, where North Queensland's bye coverage starts hurting and looking bad at round 15. So I have a plan in place there. And this is the way I look at things. Now, Dolphins as well, great. Jack Bostock, Jermaine Asako, Herbie Farnworth if you don't own him, Lemuelu, Isaiah Katoa, where if Hines' injury is really bad, he could be someone that comes onto my radar as a Hines replacement. It could now, obviously you can see my team live, but for those that are watching, listening audio wise, I don't have Tamari Martin, just based on the chance Luke Metcalf might come in, and I didn't want to get Tamari Martin and get Reece Walsh this week and have two players that may not be playing in round 15, that would just wreck my round 15. So I'd rather lean into Walsh, take a gamble that he doesn't play Origin 2 again, and then if he does get called for Origin in terms of just bench or whatever, that's completely fine. It is what it is. Then there's other Canberra players you can look at. I'm not sure the extent of Corey Horsburgh. I think Tarpanay was the correct pick. Zach Hosking, if you don't have him. Then you've got Simi Sasagi coming back soon, who I think will be a must-have for everyone when he comes back into like the line of duty. Then you've got West Tigers at Gold Coast. Now, West Tigers, from memory, either have the bye in round 21 or 23. I think it's 21. I could be incorrect on that, but they do not have a bye during this bye period anymore. They are completely ready to rumble, and they verse Gold Coast in round 15. The reason why I'm not going Terrell May this week is two reasons. One is his break even is about 111. Two, I don't want to flood my front row forward. I feel like last season, this is what I did. I flooded my front row forward and I was forced to like downgrade and make money. Whereas I think me having Jackson Ford, Twal and Tarpanay is completely fine. I can then just focus on my two RFs, like a KPP if I thought he was a good trade, which may happen this week. But the loss of Adam Dewey just makes me neglect that a bit, where I can go maybe Cameron McGuinness next week, save a bit of money, and he should get similar scores. Or if Jackson Ford does get called up to Origin, there's a chance then I go to Terrell May. Because I think there could be people in Laurie's ear being like, look, Laurie, I know we won, but we should have technically lost that game in a sense, or we didn't start as strong as we wanted and it was in our forward pack. It's time to call Jackson Ford in. So I think there is still a chance that Jackson Ford could be called into Origin. Again, I could be completely incorrect, but when you have someone like Jacob Saifidi that didn't even come onto the field, what's the point of him sitting there? You'd just rather a Jackson Ford sitting there at that point. So that was insane to me, but I could be, again, completely incorrect on that. So New Zealand, Sharks, Dolphins, Canberra have really good buy structures. West Tigers, really, really good. And I think South. Do South play round 18? I don't think they do. They do. They verse Panthers in round 18, which is not bad. Dewey is due back in round 15. Okay, that is good news. So out of those, all the teams, these are the ones I'm focusing on, which I've just mentioned. I'm not touching Parramatta. I don't want to have anyone in my team for Parramatta bar Pezzett when he will become either Fletcher Sharp or another 5'8" I want to go to if Purgie continues to do bad. New Zealand I'm really big on because, one, they're just performing at an elite level. Two, I get guaranteed security with Aaron Clark because I know either Mitch Barnett or Jackson Ford are going to be in the Blues team, or both of them. Three, I think Aaron Clark is just a stable pick that gives me security in the 2RF position. Now, maybe this week, if Cleary backs up, I don't go to Aaron Clark straight away, but it's something I'm heavily monitoring. Now, a lot of this will depend also on Hines' injury. Now, the good thing was, which I didn't mention before, Hines was actually just standing on the field while they were training, and he was just walking around and he looked fine. So it must be like a very minor injury. So that is very good news. Hopefully he's back next week for St. George. For people that traded him out, I think it's absolutely absurd if people traded him out. I really do. One, because he's a season keeper. Two, because it was a minor injury. And three, because they have Dragons next week at Ocean Protect Stadium. So all that lined up, he's literally going to be a captaincy pick. Warriors versus Sharks at home, round 15. Yes, sir. Dewey back round 15. Brayley to Dewey. Oof. Interesting. So yeah, that's where my thought is at. Now, I know I can keep rambling on for this, but I'll speak about like the trades I'm looking at doing this week. As I said to you, Tamale is a big, big watch for me. Not because I think he's going to be like the best player ever, but I have Jonathan Sewer there. He needs to go. I have Cooper Bye, which is going to be a corrective trade for me because I thought he was going to get more minutes when Tino was going to Origin. That didn't happen. He could easily be a KPP. The good news is if you are someone that has two of these players or someone like this, Cooper Bye and Helam Lukey. Now, I think Helam Lukey is going to be a trade out in round 15 or 14 if you want to jump early. He has a 72 break even now, but I don't want to trade out a green dot at this moment, especially when they're versing Canberra, who still can leak a bit of points. Don't know if Ethan Strange is going to back up, so I don't want to do that yet. But Helam Lukey is definitely on my radar to be someone who is traded out. So essentially in 2RF, I can go KPP and like a Cameron McInnes. Now, these two guys, possibly KPP could be a season keeper. For anyone saying he is a season keeper, I think that's just too crazy of a comment. I need to see more because when in his last few games, it hasn't been crazy good, and I wouldn't put him at the level of like a Hudson Young, etc. Or a Simi Sasagi. Has Cleese Haas picked up Tino's minutes? I don't know. I'll be honest with you because I was so invested in thinking that Cooper Bye. I actually know someone that works in the Titans, like in their rooms doing other stuff. And I messaged him being like, why is Cooper Bye not getting more minutes? I don't understand. Like, obviously he wasn't going to go to the coach and say anything, but I was like, I just don't get it. I just don't understand why Josh Hannay isn't giving him more minutes. I'm not sure. Maybe we can look quickly at that. Let's look at Cleese Haas's minutes. Because, I mean, I'm not going to jump at going Thingo, though, to be honest with you. How do I, oh, here we go. I was like, how do I change it? So Titans, I just want to see what Cleese Haas got here. What did he get last week in terms of points? So he got 44 points. I doubt it. I don't think it's Cleese Haas that got extra minutes here. I mean, 12-10 against the Titans. We go to player stats here. We'll go to Titans. Let's just check the minutes here. So Cleese Haas, no, he got 46 minutes in that game. Fodawaker got 57 minutes. Cooper Bye only got 38. Curtis Morin still 34. Very weird. Very, very, very weird. Jensen, no, it can't be that. No. So it looks like Fodawaker, 57 minutes. Arama Howe got 80. But only, nothing crazy there. So maybe Howe's just come in and got the 80. So it looks like Howe's got the minutes. So yeah, that is where like my head is at the moment. If Tedesco does not play, he will go out for Walsh. Be a tough decision on who goes out for Walsh if I do decide on that. If not, there is a high chance that Tamale will come into my team with Bostock coming in next week. Again, for my team personally, I need to focus on bringing someone in. Now, it's crazy. I've had two decisions to make in the last few weeks. One was Roger Tuivasa-Sheck coming in. I didn't do that. He got an injury for the season. ACL. Done. Gone. Never coming back to the NRL because I think he's going to Super League or something. Then tonight, I was going to do Mulatalo. Dodged a bullet. So I'm dodging bullets left, right, and center. I also think there is an opportunity that if Hines doesn't or has a very long injury, I could go Latrell Sigwalt in that position and just use him like that. Now, that could be crazy. I like Katoa and I like Jaden Campbell. That's someone else. So I think your two options are if you did sell Hines or are looking to sell Hines, it's either Katoa or Campbell. Now, Dylan Egan, that's a great question, Stephen. How you doing, by the way? The one thing I don't like is they have the round 15 bye. That's the only thing. Now, I think if you want to aim for Egan, Yes, they have the Broncos this week, and then next week they have the Sharks at Ocean Protect Stadium. I would survey and just wait for round 16. Maybe Toby Couchman drops in price a bit, and that's when you can sort of unload on them, because then they have Newcastle in round 16 at Newcastle's home. Then they have Canberra at GIO Stadium. I mean, the draw is super tough. And then they play at home against the West Tigers in Jubilee Stadium. You know what? I'm going to say this out loud. St. George will beat the West Tigers at Netstrata Jubilee Stadium Saturday, April. Is it April? No. What am I talking about? July the 4th. I'm going to say it. Wait, am I crazy for saying that? Who do they verse the week after? No, they have a bye. Okay, yeah. Before their bye, I'm going to say St. George beat West Tigers at Netstrata Stadium on the 4th of July. Sheesh. Campbell gets DPP soon. That's also a great shout. That is also a great shout. Now, also, let's just backtrack here. I'm telling you trades I'm looking at based off my team and what I'm needing to focus on, because my round 15 is bad. Okay? If I had the best round 15 team and I could luxury trade, there is one player I would go for this week, and that is Fletcher Sharp. Jacob Kiraz, I'm not 100% sold on. I understand it. But Fletcher Sharp this week against the Eels, I am scared. I am super scared. Now, if Kalen Ponga doesn't play, it's either him or Fletcher Hunt that will go to the fullback position. But if I could do a trade right now and know that I'm completely fine with it, like, there's part of me right now that wants to go Pezzett to Fletcher Sharp and go like Farlogo or Tedesco to Walsh and just cop the hit for round 15, because I get 4 trades, right? If I boost. It's very scary, right? Wait, don't we get 3 sets of trades? Hold on. It's round 13. 2, 4. Do we get 8 trades? Oh, I have 8 trades to work with. I have 8 trades to work with, no? Because we get 4 and 15, 2 this week, 2 next week. And that's, so I have 7 without a boost. Oh my Lord. Maybe Fletcher Sharp comes in this week for me. Dragons will beat Sharks next week. Mr. Poked Dragon 511. I'm going to say this out loud so everyone hears this. If Dragons beat the Sharks next week, I will PayPal you $50 and buy you a 6-pack of any alcoholic drink that is under the price of $30. Send it straight to your doorstep and say you are the best. I'll even send it with a greetings card. Clip it, get it ready, and if that happens, I'm quitting content creating. Never forget that. So yeah, that's what I'm sort of thinking. Okay, now that changes things for me. Now that changes things for me. I thought I only had 5 trades to work, like 6 in total with the boost. I'm actually insane. I'm losing my mind now. I think I'm going to go Pezzett and Walsh. I literally think I'm going to go Pezzett. I think I'm going to go Sharp and Walsh. Am I insane? I don't know. But I will come to you guys with exactly what I'm doing. I'll mull on this now. But I think I need a piece of this Newcastle attack besides Marju. Ooh, man, that is tough. I think Kiraz can wait. What is Kiraz's He's got a 53 break even at Leichhardt Oval. I'm going to wait one more week on Kiraz. I just want to see what he's about. Last time Hines came back from injury against the Dragons, he scored 180. Lock and load. Lock and load. But yeah, I think that is who I'd recommend to trade in for this week. I think you have to have a piece of Newcastle attack this week. It could literally be a 40 point plus score. I really like, obviously, Broncos versus St. George at Suncorp, Reece Walsh not getting chosen for Origin, and then obviously Payne Haas back, who increases his scoring by approximately 20 points. And then I really like, obviously, I think that it's going to be a high scoring game for North Queensland and Canberra. Hopefully Purdue has a really nice game. And that really does like just hit a bit of people in the throat a bit. Because they are trading him out. So that's what I'm sort of gambling on, because Canberra can still leak a bit of points, even though I do think it's going to be Canberra's game. I hope Strange doesn't back up, but he could. So we'll have to wait and see. And that's what I'd be focusing on. Now, vice captaincy and captains, I'll just run through that quickly. For anyone that's wanting to know that. Newcastle, obviously Ponga if he plays. The thing I do fear is that if they're dominating and it's like 32-4 at 60 minutes, I fear that Ponga will come off for a rest because, one, he had a big head clash. There were rumors that he wasn't going to back up, but if he does, that's a play. If he doesn't back up and Fletcher Sharp goes to fullback, I really like Fletcher Sharp. Someone like Greg Marju, you could vice captain as well. I wouldn't touch anyone from the West Tigers and Bulldogs game. I think people might get baited into a bit of Karaz play. I wouldn't do that. Melbourne and Sydney Roosters, if Tedesco does back up, I think that could be a nice little vice captaincy play. Although I'm curious to see, I think you could pot up and even go fire Logo in this game, because I just wonder how tired someone like Tedesco will be. Obviously Radley, they have some outs there as well. And I still think they can leak a bit of points. Broncos, obvious choice here. If you don't want to vice captain, you captain Reece Walsh in this one. If you want a really solid captaincy pick, you could just Payne Haas and play it safe this week. I think he'll tear them up. Canberra, North Queensland. If you have balls of steel, you could go Drinkwater. I don't advise it. And if you're looking at someone from Canberra, you could easily go someone like a Kyo Weeks, who could absolutely tear up the North Queensland team if we come and have one of those games where we just don't perform. And Penrith, if you hear that Cleary is starting, you could go for it. I wouldn't touch that. And New Zealand, I wouldn't go anyone there. Now, if Cleary doesn't play, you could look at Dylan Edwards, but I think against New Zealand, I wouldn't do that. But that could be a real big pod play that could be huge if you did want to do that. So that would be my captaincy advice for this week. If you have any questions in the chat, feel free to fire away with them now. If not, we're going to end that there. For those listening on audio, I know it's a bit of a longer video, but we've gone into an in-depth analysis on like buy structure here, who I'm aiming at getting because of that round 15 buy, trade-ins, my possible trade-outs, captaincies, what I'm trying to do with my team, and etc., etc. But thank you so much for listening on the podcast. Please, 5-star review. It does help. Wolfie here from the Rage Traders. Good luck with the rest of the weekend and your trades and your picks. Hope you see nothing but green dots. Peace. All right, guys. If there's no questions, I will end that here. Thank you very much for just jumping on this late live. It's now 11:15. I got to wake up early. So I'm going to head off. And thank you. Thank you so much for supporting and just being here so late. I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Good luck with your teams. I will let you know the trades I'm doing once I have made a decision, but that might be incrementally because Teddy to Walsh. If Teddy isn't named, yes. If Teddy is named, I would say 65% yes. I can't say yes to that. Also a two to Kiraz or Teddy to Walsh. Wow. If If you don't have a good captaincy pick, I would say Teddy to Walsh, but geez, that could be scary, right? If Walsh comes out and just drops an 80, I think it's like a bit of a failed trade. That's the only problem. Great stream. Thank you. Stephen, take care. Everyone, take care. Good luck with your trades. Very nervous. Wait on final teams. I know. Take care, guys. Thanks for being here. Sleep well. Have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you on the next one. Wolfie from the Rage Traders. Peace.